What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Clocks on the stove. With me, Mr. Zachary Watts. And today's guest, Florida State Baseball Commit, CDS, second baseman, shortstop, Christian Clarke. Christian, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. So for everyone that doesn't know Christian, he's just, like I said, shortstop, second baseman, class of 2025 at Carrollwood Day School. You got a PG grade of 9. He's committed to Florida State. 94.2 exit velo, 6.67 60-yard dash, 83 fastball, which was in the 92 percentile of PG, and a 6.67 at 98% at perfect game. My bad, that was a tongue twister.
No, it's all straight. So, Christian, I don't know if you know this, but I was actually a CDS baseball player for 3 years. We never got the chance to play together, unfortunately. But I just kind of wanted to ask you what the CDS baseball team has been like from your experience there. Because, I mean, ever since we had coaching changes, I haven't been able to keep up as much as I'd like to. So just kind of give me a rundown of what it's like being at CDS.
I mean, it's actually pretty cool. Last year was my first year at CDS. So being an 8th grader, playing varsity baseball, so it's a pretty big change. I mean, last year wasn't the greatest year. Had a losing record and stuff like that. But like this year, got a new coach, started turning things around, got some new players, and we split good. Fortunately, we split the season 500, 11-11. But we have a lot of freshmen, a lot of young guys. So for the next couple of years, we're gonna be pretty good.
You been on the mound at all, or no? You haven't You been on the mound at all?
Sort of, like an inning or two.
Yeah, I remember our senior year, we lost. Like they had no more pitchers to pitch. So we had like shortstops and like outfielders throwing in the district finals.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so my last year at CDS, we ended up posting our best record. We went 25-4, went to state semis, and they got bounced. But we had like a bunch of coaching changes after that. Who was your coach this past year? I know you said you had a new one, but who was this past one?
So this past year, his name is Coach Tony Brewington. So that was our coach.
Okay.
This past year, and then the year before, we had some guy named Coach Ryan Valdez. I guess that just didn't last that long, but yeah.
So you said 8th grade was your first year at Carrollwood Day School?
Yes, sir.
How did you hear about Carrollwood Day School, and what like drew your attention to them?
Well, I mean, ever since middle school, I was thinking about going to CDS my middle school year and stuff like that. And I guess it just didn't necessarily happen. And then I had a couple of friends who went to CDS. Knew a couple of people who always told me about it. So I took a tour, instantly fell in love, and that's where I ended up at.
Yeah.
We just had JT Quinn on from Berkeley, and it's just like, it's crazy how much good baseball there is just in Tampa alone, with like Tampa Catholic, Berkeley, Jesuit, Carrollwood Day School, Calvary. Like, Tampa's just really a hotbed for private school baseball, man.
Christian, do you think it was, I guess, I wouldn't really say you had like a focus on it, but does it kind of help knowing that like even as a middle schooler, you can play on like the varsity level and get that experience this early on? Because I know for me, I didn't start on varsity till my, I think, junior year. I played some sophomore, but I wasn't like a solidified starter till my junior year. So like, do you think that helps a lot?
Yeah, I do think it helps, but I just think it just depends like where your mind is. I definitely think it hurts somebody and also helps somebody. Like it could benefit you or hurt you. I think it just depends on like where you're at as far as in the game, you know what I mean? Because the game is a very humbling sport. So I would just say like, as long as your head's in the right place, you're trying to learn and stuff like that, I think it can help. But I mean, for me, it helped. It was a great experience. I got to learn a lot that way. When I did start, my official high school season and stuff like that, I could, kind of know what I was expecting and stuff like that. So I was able to go from there and do pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Now, did you have to make any adjustments going from you're still in AAU in 7th grade, right? And then you went to varsity, which is like you can play against 18-year-olds, even 19 in some situations. Yeah. Was there any like adjustments you had to make or anything that you weren't really used to jumping a gap that big?
There's a lot of things I had to get used to. Like actually, so I wasn't really even a shortstop before I got to CDS. I was a kind of like a catcher outfield type of guy, but we didn't have a shortstop. So I stepped up and I was like, I learned this position, learn how to play and stuff like that. So I had to learn a whole new position, and the game just moves so much faster, there's not really that much room to think and, second guess yourself, everything's just kind of like boom, 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 boom. So yeah, everything was a lot faster. The game was a lot faster, pitching speed, getting the ball in and out. It's just a lot more competitive.
Yeah. What do you feel like are some things you've been trying to work on specifically within your game as you like go through high school? Because I know you already committed to Florida State, so you're kind of already trying to get yourself college level ready because you know that you're going to face that sooner rather than later. I know it seems a little far out, but I promise you, you will be in college before you know it, and it's a great time though. It's great, but yeah, just what are some things you're trying to work on right now?
Some things I'm trying to like pretty much work on is so kind of like my pitch selection a little bit. I mean, this whole season I'm just getting off speed, curveballs, changeups. I don't really get that many fastballs. So just kind of just spinning on it, leaving it alone, and stuff like that. And just learning how to stay kind of a little bit more consistent and stuff like that, like just kind of staying here and elevating. I can't really be up and down and stuff like that. So just learn to stay more consistent and just being more like disciplined in the game.
Yeah, talking about at bat, how do you approach, what is your approach at the plate? Like, is there certain balls you're looking for? How are you staying composed if you're down 0-2 in the count? Like, what's your mental like when you're up there to hit?
Well, every time I get into the box, my approach is always like, I want to swing at balls that I can drive and not just hit. You know what I mean? Like I can poke the ball out there and hit a little dribbler. It doesn't really do anything. You know what I mean? So I always look for a pitch that I can drive. And I'm more so like a gap to gap type of guy. So I aim for the gaps and stuff like that. I'm not really going to try to hit home runs every at bat and swing for the fences and stuff like that. And it's also really just about like what I can do for the team. Like if we have a guy at third or something like that, I might have to lay down the bunt. So just anything that I can do to benefit the team and help out the team. That's pretty much my approach.
Yeah, home runs on that CDS field are damn near impossible.
Yeah. What was that adjustment like? Because I know when you toured the school, you probably saw the field. Did that kind of look intimidating at first when you see that massive?
Real quick, can you explain why, like, so everyone else understands, like, why the field's so big?
Yes. So our old athletic director at the time, his name was Nick Rodriguez, who also happened to be the baseball coach. He wanted the school wanted a brand new football field, but he like demanded that we needed another baseball field since we were already building the gym. So he comprised an idea with the Wagner family, which is why it's called the Wagner Complex, to pitch like $1 million, and then the school would raise it and match it. So we ended up, the way he had it laid out, because he explained it to us, he was like, we'll have the football fields, like we'll have everything centered around the football field, and then we can just add the like infield and stuff after, like how we make the dimensions. The only guarantees we knew at the time were that we were definitely getting a clay mound because we didn't want to pitch on turf. That was the one thing like we were like set on not doing. And then other than that, we were like, we don't care what anything else is. So it was a surprise to us when we saw the whole turf field, football field and outfield. Like, I mean, it's literally what, 425 to the gaps, like 305 down the line.
Like that's huge.
Yeah.
So it's literally like you drive into the school, and it's like you're driving on the right is the school, and on the left is the stands, and then it's a whole football field, and then a baseball field.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, going yard would be like that's far. What'd you say? It's 425.
I think it's like like something like that. It's
great. And it's also the only thing not turf on the baseball field is the mound.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I thought that was turf too.
Yeah, that's the only
thing.
How
different is it playing on turf than clay or right?
Yeah. It's pretty deceiving because it's like you get those like perfect hops, you know what I mean? Like you can tell where the ball's gonna be, and then the next game you might play like away at a clay field and you think that it's gonna be like a nice hop, and it just like goes right under your glove or something like that. Like it's just everything's pretty sweet.
What about base running too? Is it harder or easier with turf?
You gotta slide earlier because you'll skid, and sometimes it hurts a little bit, but as long as you like slide at the right time, you'll be okay. You kind of like glide. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially for you, because you said you made that transition from like outfield catcher role to more infielder now. I'm sure you probably like working the infield a lot more now, because I mean, with our outfields, I played right and left and switched out, but I literally had to play like perfect alignment on every hitter because I was so worried, like if this ball gets like just out of gloves reach on like either side, that's triple inside the park curve all day, every day. But so are you guys still in 3A right now?
Yeah, we're still in 3A, but surprisingly, 3A is like probably like one of the best divisions in like Florida.
Oh, really? Who's in it right now?
So we had like Berkeley, like we had Calvary. So we had some pretty good teams. Like last year, our division was Berkeley and Calvary. Like we had to beat them to get the regionals, and
Damn.
like that was I don't even know.
What about is Tampa Catholic still good at baseball?
I mean they're okay. They're I mean I guess they're a little young too. They just got a new coach this year actually.
Really?
But they're not like super good like they used to be, but they're not bad at all.
Who would you say are like the powerhouses in Hillsborough County right now?
Jesuit.
I mean, yeah, of course, but
Yeah, Jesuit, Berkeley. I don't know. I honestly Jesuit and Berkeley run everything.
what about like House Plant or Jefferson?
Oh, Plant's actually really good. Plant, they went to Final Four, I think. I think they lost in the semis, but they're really good. Jefferson's not bad. Last year they beat Jesuit. This year they weren't horrible. They were pretty
They
good.
won states last year, I'm pretty sure. Jefferson.
I don't
think
know.
they did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did with like a very young team.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're like a consistent team. Tampa
Yeah.
Catholic's like one of those teams too. It's like they'll suck, and then they'll have a 2-year amazing seasons, and then they'll just go right back to sucking. And they somehow always pull off a game against Jesuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess since those two, like, I'm assuming Brooks DeBartolo probably isn't there anymore unless they still are.
Well, yeah, Brooks is in 3. They're actually in our division. So Brooks DeBartolo, like our division is us, Brooks DeBartolo, TC, Tampa Prep, what's TC, Tampa, Bell Creek, and yeah, I want to say that's it. Yeah.
Bell Creek's a team I threw a no-hitter against, and then we faced them.
Oh, no offense to Bell Creek, but Zach Watts pitched.
Yeah. This is actually the funny part. We played Bell Creek. I pitched a no-hitter, and then for senior night, we were reading off our favorite moments, and like they literally said out loud over the mic, they were like, Zach's favorite high school memory is throwing a no-hitter against this team. And then like they had me, like I like just looked across and I could see like all of them just like were not having it. I was like, that's not good. But one of the things I want to say was when I was there, Berkeley, TC, and I think one of those other teams, they weren't even in ours. I think they were technically
4A, I thought at the time.
Yeah, they were 4A at the time. But the thing is we would play them every year. Like I remember for some reason, like I was an average pitcher, but for some reason, whenever I faced Berkeley, like that was when I felt like I was at my best. But like, I thought it was so much more beneficial to play those harder teams out of conference. So that way, once you like play division games and you get towards like divisional, regional, even states time, that competition you face year round. So it's not like anything's different. Like the pressure has always been there. Especially, I know you guys were 500 last year, but you probably know how it felt last year against that competition. You know what you got to do better next time around.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I think to me personally, I think it's one of the best things about CDS is we don't shy away from competition in baseball ever.
Yeah.
I can't say the same for all of our sports while we were there at least, but you know, it is what it is.
No, I agree with what you're saying with strength of schedule because like I mean. The way we would do it in wrestling is you start off your season really easy. So like you get your first 10 wins out, get your nerves out. Then you go to a super hard tournament to humble you. Then you go back to easy, you start ramping it back up. And then by the time you hit the last tournament before districts, you go to a super hard tournament, sharpens you up, and then you go into postseason. That's how we'd always try to do it. So you'd always start off, get your butterflies out, but you would tell like, I don't know how it works in baseball, but in wrestling, the like panhandle kids were all like 80-0 because they would just wrestle the same 4 schools all season and they would kill kids and then they'd go to postseason and get destroyed. You know, so I always felt like when I was younger, I was like, I'd rather look 80-0, but the older I get, like I'd way rather be ready and I wouldn't care about a record. I would rather go into playoffs 500 and then win a title than go in 50-0 and do nothing.
Yeah.
So Christian, what was it kind of like adjusting to more of like a team environment? So what I mean by that is kind of like an AAU, you may get some practices in, but you're only really playing in like tournaments. What was it kind of like being a part of a team with like kids you go to school with every day? Like what was the camaraderie like? Like was the friendships different? Like kind of run us through that.
Like actually it was pretty fun. Like it's like, you know, you make a family, you know, you always hear about people talking about like, you know, once you get to high school, have the high school team, like you'll always remember these memories and stuff like that. So just creating different memories and stuff like that, like knowing that like like, you talk to them in school, talk about baseball, and then see them after school too. Like I made some best friends, a lot of memories, and it's fun. Like the bus rides there, the bus rides back, and stuff like that. Like, it's just,
Yeah, no, yeah. I do miss that. Those parts are fun. Those are the things you don't think about, like you forget about those things. Like those little bus rides, like little team meetings, like yeah, that's
yeah, for sure.
Best memories for sure.
I actually just the other day, I found a video on my camera roll and I sent it to like our high school group, like high school baseball team group chat. Like that just shows you like how long these connections linger afterwards. Cause I'm 4 or 5 years removed from playing. And I mean, I still talk to the guys about kicking it back in high school. It makes me sound so much older than I actually am.
Back in my days.
Yeah, back in my days type talk. But no, seriously, the memories you make with the guys are way more important than like the stats you put up on the field. So I feel like for you, it's definitely just team first and then personal success later. But obviously you seem to be doing pretty well.
Piggybacking off of what Zach just said, now knowing that, your future is already like, you're going to Florida State, does that take like a lot of stress off of you when you're playing now, knowing that you don't have to worry about how amazing you play because you already know where you're going? You kind of focus more on adapting and developing yourself?
It's kind of 50-50. Like sometimes it's just like it's a relief because baseball recruiting is it's very difficult. A lot of kids who play the game, but it's also like a little stressful sometimes because I feel like I almost like gotta be like more than like, like just like more like I feel like I gotta do better. I feel like I gotta play, like go 3 for 3 every game and stuff like that. Sometimes I put some like unnecessary pressure and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just learning how to manage that. But I mean, it's just 50-50.
Now, speaking of pressure and stuff like that, sorry, Zach, how do you, when you go in mental slumps and stuff, what are you doing to get out of that? And also, how do you strengthen your mental on the side? Like, is there anything specific you do to help strengthen? Because I mean, baseball is such a mental sport as it is.
I'm a big visualizer, so like I like calming myself down. Like if I feel like I'm just everywhere, I like calming myself down and just kind of visualizing what I'm gonna do at the plate or how I'm gonna play in the field and just stuff like that, and kind of just calming my nerves down, slow my heart rate down a little bit. And it works for me. So
yeah, I feel like I wish I would have gotten this advice sooner, but I think I heard it some time ago. But anyway, it goes, insecurity is your greatest weapon. Because a lot of times we become too complacent in what we're doing to kind of like realize that we need to get better, or maybe we just get like kind of satisfied with what we're doing. So I mean, it's good to like kind of take pressure off yourself, but I mean, these are also traits of a leader that you're describing. Like you may not see it in yourself yet, or maybe you do, but like holding yourself accountable and everyone else accountable, like people will follow suit. Like if they see that if they see that you're still even a little hard on yourself, even though you went 3 for 4 just because your last at bat wasn't like how you wanted it to be, that shows that you want perfection. So, I mean, obviously I want to tell you, especially at this point, like just take it a little easy on yourself, but never, ever lose that drive, especially now. Like you got so much room to grow. I'm sure you'll do amazing. I mean, that's why we wanted you on here. We see big things in your future. So we want to help relish in that success as well.
Now, what was it about Florida State that caught your eye?
Oh, there's a couple things so pretty much I love the atmosphere. Like Florida State, just like the first time I ever went, I was just like pretty much in love and stuff like that. And the coaches are amazing as well. Like the coaching staff is amazing. And like Florida State is a big tradition school, like a whole bunch of tradition. You can see it in the buildings, just the stadium, just stuff like that. In the fan base is pretty fun too. So kind of just finding a place that, I could be close to home for my parents to come watch me see the game, or come watch the games and stuff like that. Just kind of have that, like that loving, like environment and stuff like that. It just felt like home.
Now, were you recruited by Martin, or were you recruited by Link Jarrett?
Coach Martin.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry, Zach, did you get to talk to Jarrett yet and stuff? Like, has he reached out?
Not necessarily. Like I'm still trying to not necessarily figure things out. I'm still kind of like the relationships are still being like formed and stuff like that. So eventually I'll be able to meet him and stuff like that. But yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, because Jarrett came over from Notre Dame,
yeah,
right, Grayson?
Actually, Zach, if I could, I did some homework on this. Sorry, I want to go over this.
Hey.
All right, so
go for it.
Jarrett coached at Notre Dame, but what made his name really was he started coaching at UNC Greensboro, and they started having like crazy success. They made it to the Clemson. They made it to the regional when he was there. They were like really bad, and he started turning them around pretty well. And then when he was at Notre Dame, his overall Notre Dame record was 44-21. Or no, 86-32, 44-21 in conference. He went to Super Regional once, and then he went to the World Series this year. But he also played at Florida State for 4 years, going to the College World Series 3 years. So he has College World Series experience as a coach and as a player.
Yeah. With the new coach you have now, Christian, did they have any prior experience in baseball, or like what's kind of like their background, if you know any?
From what I know, he played a little bit of independent ball, was with the Reds a little bit, and then he actually coaches like this like perfect game collegiate league. It's called he coached the Batavia Muck Dogs, so it was pretty cool. I actually went with them for a little bit for like a week or two, but it was pretty fun. It's pretty cool. But yeah, he's been around the game for a long time. He's a pretty good coach. He coached at FAMU for a little bit, played at Benedict College and stuff like that. So
going back to the Florida State real quick though, you were talking about tradition was something that means a lot to you, and Florida State has a lot of it. Is that something that, like, even though you committed to the program, not the coach, but even though you got a new coach, knowing he is a Florida State alum, is that something that you really like as well?
Yeah, I think it's cool because I think like I think it's just, if like you kind of been a part of something before, I think you're gonna have like extra care and extra love for it, you know what I mean? Like I think that he really wants to like make like a winning culture, a winning program and stuff like that. So I think that it's actually pretty cool that he did go to Florida State, because it's just like, I just know, like, I mean, of course he's gonna care regardless and stuff like that, but it's just like, it's just different, like that's family, that's home for him. So
I'm a big fan of him, honestly. I like what he did in Notre Dame. I was doing a bunch of research on him for this, and I as a Florida State fan, I think it was a really good hire.
Yeah. So Christian, you talked about actually spending a week or two at the like summer program. What was that? Did you get the chance to play at all? Or were you just there to like kind of watch, take things in? And what was that experience kind of like? What did you notice differently?
So I didn't get to play or anything like that. Like it was like a collegiate league. So it was a lot of guys who were already in college, looking to get drafted and stuff like that. But it was fun. Like it's just like I had my own little dorm room or whatever. It was like 5 minutes away from the stadium. Things that they did differently was like pregame, the way that like they went about their business, like everything was really like orderly and stuff like that. So there wasn't really that much playing around, and everybody's trying to get drafted or trying to go to a league. So everybody took it very serious. I mean, they still did have some fun, but there's always this, a schedule and stuff like that, just a way to do things different, like respect for the game and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just a lot different.
Yeah, we actually were fortunate enough. We just interned at the South Florida Collegiate Baseball League. And I thought that was a great experience, especially just for like the talent level. Like you had a lot of kids that were trying to get drafted, but knew that like they weren't at that level yet. So everyone was trying to just like put in their own individual work, but also try to play as a team as well. Like it's kind of hard dividing the two sometimes, because you want to play for the team, but also like there's sometimes where like you want to play for yourself, like you want to help get yourself out there recognized, but kind of trying to find that balance is usually difficult. But one of the questions I kind of wanted to get to was, what got you into baseball? Like where did your love for the game really develop?
So I pretty much started playing baseball when I was 9. I was playing like soccer and just stuff like that. Like it was just pretty boring. Like I felt like I was scoring all the time when I was like, it was just boring, and I was like being challenged and stuff like that. So I guess I just got introduced to the game of baseball, and I was just like, oh, this is hard. So why not learn how to do it? And then eventually, like, I started learning the different, like, the ins and out of baseball and stuff like that. Just learning to get good. And then once I kind of got good at it and like, like kind of like invested in stuff like that, like I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Couldn't stop playing it. Couldn't stop wanting to play in tournaments and stuff like that. I mean, I started late, so I always kind of had to work from behind, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I mean, I liked where I started. I feel like it just made my drive a lot harder than everybody else's. So
Did your dad play baseball?
Oh no.
You play any sports?
Yeah, my dad played football.
Okay. Yeah, my dad played baseball, and when I was younger, I had no patience for baseball. I thought it was so dumb. as I got older, I started to appreciate it more as I started to learn like the mental aspect and like how insane it is that someone can hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Like it's
Yeah.
just crazy. And I think that also to go with like talking with what Zach said, doing the internship, it
Mm.
made me realize like I really love baseball and like it is awesome, but I never got to play it. And I think that really frustrated my dad growing up that he couldn't get me to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you talked about playing soccer and some other sports when you were younger. Have you thought about playing any other sports at CDS or like using anything to help build on your baseball skills? Because from my experience, our coach made us you had two options. You either ran cross country for stamina or you swam for stamina and shoulder stability. So I was a swimmer for 3 years. I was forced to do that. But have you considered playing any other sports at CDS or thought about it?
Well, 8th grade, I played football. It was pretty fun, but like not necessarily because like the one time I did try football, I got hurt. So after that, I was kind of like, I'm good. I'm kind of football. I just stick to baseball. And I mean, we have like a little fall program and stuff like that, just to get our arm strength like better and stuff like that. So I haven't really thought about playing any other sports. If I did think about playing, like the sport that I would play is like track, but like, or I would run track, but it's kind of like in the meat of baseball season. So I can't really.
Have you been like working out or doing anything else like outside of baseball to help you get better and like strengthen your body and stuff?
Yeah, I go to this gym called Diesel Optimization. It's kind of like downtown. I've been going there pretty consistent for the last 2 months in the summer and stuff like that. It's been a little difficult because like I've only probably been in Tampa for like 2 weeks this whole summer. But the times that I have, like it really helps and stuff like that.
And they got you like on a program and stuff like that?
Yeah, they have a program, recovery. They have like literally everything.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see how much the game is like developed because I mean, growing up, it was kind of just like if you can throw hard and you can hit the ball hard, like that's all you really need. You'll go to college. But now with like we have places like Florida Baseball Ranch and we have these facilities with cryotherapy and stuff. Like I used to go to the baseball ranch and they would do an ultrasound of your arm before your bullpen to see if you had enough fatty acids to like break down while you were throwing. Because they were like, you're going to be throwing really hard. We're not going to tax your arm at all. You need to have at least like this many grams of protein in your body before you throw today. Like you need to have this much electrolytes. Like they would break it down to a science. And I was just like, my whole life, I thought this was just like pitch, catch, hit, like the basics of baseball. But I mean, for you guys now, it's like how, like we even were looking at your PG stuff and some of the stats I had never seen before in my life. Like there was like and yeah, there were some where I was just so confused. I was like, what are they even looking for with these stats? Is that going to tell him how good he can read a curveball? Like, I don't know. It all seemed a little crazy to me, but maybe that's just me getting older, I guess. I'm hating on the newer stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Like it's just like a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics and stuff like that. Like it's just, yeah, it gets a lot sometimes.
Yeah, that's what was hard for me at first with the internship is like there's so much information in baseball. Like there's stats for everything. There's different like slang for everything. Like the first game I was there, I was trying to commentate and I couldn't say anything after the second inning. I didn't know what to do. There was just so much going on. And then I started learning more and I think that made me like the sport more too. There's just, like I said, so much. It was, I don't know. It's one of those sports that grew on me, you know?
Yeah.
But you know,
Christian, you have
it's developing a lot. Starting to see one of these developments. Our most popular topic that we talk about all the time is automated umping. What are your thoughts on this with the automated strike zone?
I feel like it'll make the game like less fun, you know, like it's kind of fun seeing like the other coach kind of get like angry and stuff like that because of a bad call and stuff like that. But like I also feel like it'd be like a lot more consistent, a lot more fair. So I'm not really sure what side I'm on. I think I'm more so probably on like the automated umpiring because like it just be fair, you know, like the right calls. I mean, it wouldn't really be an issue. Nobody can argue about anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you kind of changed my mind a little bit because I was all on board for the like automated umps, but like there is an entertainment aspect of the game where like literally that's where like rivalries start from is like getting calls, like showing guys up, like things just going your way. Like that's literally what makes a sport. And if you were to like take that away, it really like you lose a little like tradition of it, or you lose like the authenticity. Like, I don't know, like even as a catcher yourself, like part of being like an amazing catcher is how you frame. Like working on pitch framing is like how you pretty much get raised on. And if like you just told a catcher nowadays who's already like high school, college, like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. It's like, well, then what did I just work on everything for? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what route we go with it. Personally, I think the talent level in the MLB is great. I just think the ownership is a little like not where it needs to be with like Manfred and whatever. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, I was always for automated, and like the more we talk about it, the more I get like 50-50 on it. Because like part of the game as a pitcher, catcher, hitter, everything is understanding and developing to the umpire strike zone. Fair? No, it's not fair. I'm not going to say it's fair, but that is part of the game, is learning what he's going to call, what he's not going to call. Yeah, some umps are awful and it's not consistent. Yeah. But I feel like if you get rid of that like human error aspect or like human control aspect, it goes a little bit more towards like robotic in a way, if that makes sense. Yeah. You know, I don't want it to be like Real Steel or whatever, where robots are boxing and all these guys lose their jobs now, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's also good though, because like as a fan, like if you lose a game, I need to be able to blame something on someone. Like I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, we totally got beat fair and square. Like, no, I'm going to be like, no, that call in the third inning when you rung them up with a base. Like,
no, but Zach, what's your excuse for the Red Sox right now as a fan?
So we suck. That's where we are right now. I honestly, if you were to ask my like truthful opinion, I think let's hear it. I think we're in a fake rebuild, because like we're throwing out platoon lineups every day. Like I'm seeing new guys on the field called up from Triple and Double A that I'm like, why are you? The only reason they're calling them and putting them out there is because I think they want to see their worth and know if they can be used as a trade asset or not. So right now we've been dealing with a lot of injuries. We haven't re-signed Devers. We haven't re-signed Bogarts yet, which is my biggest frustration. I think those guys are like needs for the team. We've signed some decent relief pitchers, but starting pitching can't stay healthy. I mean, Chris Sale literally just came back off the IL, broke his pinky, first came back. You're gone. Nick Pivetta just not there. I mean, we just have so many holes in the team right now. It just seems like for a team that literally went into the championship series last year, this is not the team that looks like they did that last year. This is a team that looks like they're like came off like the worst season in baseball and are trying to get back. So it's painful to watch. Thankfully, I haven't been watching any of it. I'd rather enjoy my happiness as is. But I actually like that you asked that, because Christian, what is your favorite MLB team right now?
My favorite MLB team is probably the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians, like I've always been an Indians fan. I guess we're the Guardians now, but I've always been like an Indians fan.
We won't be mad at you, I promise.
Yeah, no. It'll always be the Indians, I promise.
Yeah, that's my favorite team.
Yeah.
How are they doing this year?
Yeah.
How are they doing this year?
They're okay. They're doing pretty well. Jose Ramirez, of course, always carrying. I mean, that's what he does. But I mean, we're decent.
Is he your favorite player?
No, my favorite player is Francisco Lindor.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Just like I'm not a bandwagon. Like I like the when you used to play for the Indians. It's just like his style of play and swag he brings to the game. Like he just looks so confident. Like it just looks like nobody's better than him. And like that's kind of how he carries.
Would you say you try to model your game a little after him?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, a lot of people sound like kind of flashy, but I mean, you gotta look good. You know, if you look good, you play good. So.
Exactly. Hey, don't ever feel bad about that. I was the kid every game with like arm sleeve, taped wrist, eye black, wore the glasses, and it could be like a 7 p.m. game. And I'd be like, why do you have on eye black? And I'm like, because if I look good, I play good. That's just how it is. Yeah. Like I can't have, if I were to like go into a game and someone were to be like, oh yeah, you look terrible. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going over 4 today. Like my mental.
All right, well, I'm not here, coach. I'm out. I'm going home.
Yeah. I actually pulled my calf. I'll just sit this one out today.
Zach,
that's actually.
I want to throw this on you again real quick, because you just got me thinking. If you were the GM for the Red Sox, what would you do right now to save everything?
Re-sign Devers. Devers is the best hitter in baseball. If you don't resign him, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. I could somewhat understand not re-signing Bogarts because you signed Trevor Story. He can take over short if need be, and you don't have enough money. But if you're going to sign one of them, number one, sign Devers. Number two, start calling up your pitching prospects and using them effectively, or trade them for an actual established pitcher. Because right now we have maybe one guy I would trust to save my life. Maybe. And that's maybe. But one of the questions I wanted to ask Christian was,
Thank you.
what are some of like your favorite fields you played on so far? Or what would you say your favorite field to play on is? And what would you say, if you have one, like your worst field that like you hate playing at?
Like as far as high school?
Yeah. Or honestly, anywhere AAU travel, because I mean, I've been to most of the tournaments, so I know.
You're so Zach.
I would say high school, my favorite field to probably play on. SBC, they had a really nice field. SBC, like their field, like the grass was done, like it was really nice.
They good at baseball?
Yeah,
they're not good at any sports, I don't think.
SBC, that's nice. And then my favorite travel ball field that I've played on is probably, I don't know, I like the Boomba sport. Actually, no. East Cobb. East Cobb's my favorite.
East Cobb. Oh yeah, East Cobb is
all turf.
That's all. Yeah. Wait, is that in Georgia?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because when we did, was it Lake Point?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lake Point. Like that is a crazy field to go to. Like just how they set it up. I don't know. The only thing I didn't like about some AAU spots is like when they would just throw turf mounds on the fields, and it's like literally like half the size, and you're literally like stepping off a hill to like throw like that. Oh, I hated that.
You used to pitch? You were a pitcher?
Me?
That was no Zach.
Oh.
What?
You used to pitch?
Yeah, dude, I pitched all the way up to my junior year. This is actually a pretty funny story. So we were in the IMG Classic tournament. Like we played that every year. So it was like our start of spring. Like this was my junior year. So like, I'd already pitched some sophomore. Junior kind of ended because we went to this tournament and we had to leave school at like 6 a.m. To make it. And as like a high schooler at 6 a.m., you don't know how to act on a bus. So I'm in the back of the bus and I'm doing dips with other kids because we're like, we got to get big. They're like, we face the D1 talent. Like, we got to do this. I end up pulling my like scap, like pulled it on the bus, like to the point where I couldn't breathe sitting down unless my arm was like pinched to my side. And I remember we get there and I wasn't playing that day, thankfully, but then out of nowhere, coach is like, go down to the bullpen. Like, you're warming up right now. And I was like, I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, you're doing it. He was like, you're doing it right now. So I was like, all right, fine. I come into the game and we had a radar on us because it's IMG. I did not break 60 miles an hour because I could not throw. Okay. I probably hit like 63, 64, but at the time I was normally sitting anywhere between like 76, 79 range. But then I come out there throwing low 60s. My coach is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I told you I pulled my back. Like, I'm sorry, but I literally can't even throw a ball 60 feet, 6 inches. So you should take me out. And he said no to prove a point. So I gave up like 11 runs. And that was the last time. We were facing Belen. Like, I think we were facing Belen Jesuit, which was like the #1 team out of California. Like, they ran through us.
Miami.
There's 2 Belen Jesuits. There's one in Cali and one in because we thought it was the Miami one, and we were like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun. Like, we get to play." Like,
is it a fact check? Do we need to fact check this?
I'm like almost because I'm pretty sure that's where Kyle Muller went. Oh, or was it in Texas?
All right, there is one in Miami.
Yes. Maybe it wasn't Belen. It was one of the Jesuits.
It was a Jesuit.
Yeah, they had like a star cross as a symbol. I don't know. All I know is they had 2 first-round draft picks on the team, and I was like, we are going to get absolutely folded.
How bad did it hurt when you were throwing? Were you like wincing? You're like, oh.
Dude, I couldn't lift my arm away from my body. Like, you're throwing like this. You're trying to pitch like this. Like, it It doesn't work. Yeah, that was one of the most embarrassing experiences I've had on a baseball field. Ah, that's a lie. Yeah, that's a lie. When yeah, well, Christian, we'll get your most embarrassing moment after this because I promise you nothing will ever beat this. I tried to steal home plate on my own in the bottom of the 7th inning as the game tying run, and I got thrown out and we lost the game. And my head coach took my helmet off my head and punted it over the fence, and then took me into the outfield while the game's still going on. Like, we only had 2 outs, but he took me into the outfield and told the team to just finish the rest of the game and yelled at me for an hour. So like the kids were like packed up waiting for like our team meeting to like leave. And I'm still like at the left field foul pole. And my coach is just like laying into me. And he just screams back. He's like, everyone go home. And then I like, me being like the high schooler I am, not paying attention, I think that means that I need to go home too. So I walk away from him and he just grabs me by the shirt and brings me back. He was like, before I kill you, he's like, you can either run 50 polls or never show up to a game again. So I ran 50 polls till I think 1 a.m. And that was my most embarrassing high school, or I guess baseball experience.
Why would you steal home? What did you see? Like what?
There is no logical way to defend this. This is strictly AAU ball. You think you're invincible. Like personally, I just thought I was the best player on the field. Like I was like, yeah, this pitcher's dumb. There's no way he even knows I'm about to take off. What makes it worse, he's a righty. He can literally see me. Like it wasn't like he had his back to me. Like he literally
you were
like,
really feeling like Superman.
Bro, he pitched from the windup and like I ran a 6'8", 6'7". So like when I see him go from the windup on third base, I'm like, I could definitely beat this guy home. Personally, I think he balked. That's just my opinion. I think he balked. I think I was screwed because I had it. But no, definitely.
How far, were you close or nowhere near?
Not nowhere even close. Like I was halfway down the line and I was like, all right, he should be like just now lifting his leg from the windup. And I look up because like I sprinted with my head down. I look up and the catcher is just waiting like 5 feet up the baseline. And I'm like, well, like this doesn't look good.
Oh man.
But Christian, what about you? What's your embarrassing baseball moment? If you've had any, I don't know.
Ooh.
Grayson, I know you have some embarrassing stories. So I'm the only one that fails in life. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
Okay, so this
definitely
summer,
have some. Yeah, you go, Christian. Let me think.
So this summer I had like the national showcase. It was like the national sophomore showcase. Some guys just pumping like 91, 92. So I'm in the box. You know, I didn't know like, so I guess the rules at the like PG showcases, like if it's ball 4, you like restart the count. So, you know, I get ball 4, whatever. He didn't even throw me a strike. You know, I tossed it back. He's like, no, come back. Like, it's not how it works. So I'm getting in the box. Just 92. Pow! First swing. Bat just like cracks, right? So that's that bat. That's the only bat I brought. Like, that's like, it's all flashy. It's nice. Like blue. Like, it's just I just broke, right? It's just bat, right? So I get his bat. I'm in the box. Like I said, it's like 92. Get in the box. Swing, miss. It was a whiff. So it's 0-2, right? And then take another swing, foul it off. And the next swing, I hit it like I thought I hit it right on the barrel. Pow! Not even my bat. It just cracks. Another bat cracks. Not even my bat. I just remember his face. He was like, oh, bad. Yeah, I cracked 2 bats.
Okay, if you think that's bad, we had a kid on the team named Grant Walford. Grant, if you ever hear this, I'm so sorry, but this was the funniest thing I've ever seen. This man broke 8 wood bats in a 3-game tournament. It got so bad. He had broken because we were just going to Dick's and buying like the $40 just ashwood bats. Like didn't matter. Like if it broke, whatever, wasn't going to cost a lot. This man broke like 2 or 3 of them and then broke a teammate's one. So his dad went to the store and bought like, you ever used a bamboo bat?
Yeah.
Like where they're just like indestructible. This man broke the bamboo bat his first at bat with it. shattered it in half. And I was like, I've never seen a bamboo bat break in my life. I was like, I thought they were denser than some metal bats. I was like, there's no way that just happened. And he broke it. And then I remember he walks off the field and sits down and he goes, Coach, for financial reasons, I will not be playing the rest of the tournament. And that was the last time he pitched, but he never swung a bat the rest of the tournament. That was just his like downfall of hitting.
Is there a reason for that? Like, is it his swing? Like, why would he be like?
Right. He was just slumping at the plate. And like when you're slumping, sometimes in your mind, you're just like, I got to swing at anything, like swing until you break the slump. And he swung at everything and they were either two inside or two outside. And they just caught the end of his bat, snap, inside, snap, hit it solid, snap. Like it didn't matter. Like he was just not having a good day. Like it was rough.
Who's this guy that they're talking about? I can't remember his name. That only has 2 sack flies in his career. I saw it everywhere this past week. You know what I'm talking about? He only has 2 sack flies in his career.
I know the craziest stat I've ever read was Barry Bonds getting on base. What was it, like 600 something times in a season, yet only recording less at bats than he did getting on base. Like that to me is the craziest stat I've ever heard in my life.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think he got on base.
It's Joey Gallo. He only has 2 sack flies.
Okay, well, Joey Gallo can't even hit a baseball right now. I don't even know. I truthfully, I don't know how he gets paid the money he gets paid. Like that man bats 205 to hit maybe 20, 30 bombs. Maybe. Like just that's a player that he's literally this generation's Chris Davis. Like that used to play for the Orioles. Like that's how I view him. But
I remember Chris Davis went on that like I think it was like 50 something, 60 something game, like hitting slump. He hit like a strikeout.
He didn't record a hit for I think 54 games.
Damn.
And, yeah. Well,
did he get out of the slump eventually? Like, did he start getting back into a groove, or he's never been the same?
Well, he was only ever good. He had 2 seasons where he hit like 50 bombs back to back, but then they caught him using more Adderall than he was prescribed.
Oh, they took this guy. Okay.
Yeah, they took his Adderall away, and then now he has the record for the worst batting average in the major leagues. So
that's bad.
Yeah. What do you think about that when it's like Barry Bonds not making the Hall of Fame? What do you think? What's your thought? Your stance on that?
You asking me or Christian?
No, Christian.
No, that's kind of jacked up because he will go down as one of the greatest hitters this game has ever seen. So I don't know how he didn't. That's just absolutely absurd to me. But
he was on steroids, but he admitted he never failed a test, which he didn't lie, and he was doing great things before he was on steroids.
Yeah.
So do you think that steroids alone should make him not Hall of Fame worthy?
I mean, like if he got tested and like he never like failed any of those tests, obviously that probably means that they probably tested him during the time of the season. I mean, I don't really think that was affecting him that much, but I don't really know how this stuff works, so I really couldn't like.
All right, well, what I'm trying to ask you is regardless if he was on them, right? Do you think though, even though he was on them, what he did was still Hall of Fame worthy?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the way that I see it, I feel like context is important for like a lot of players because like you played in different eras. Barry Bonds was still winning MVPs, Silver Sluggers, All-Star game. Like he was doing all this stuff before steroids. But then we had the rise of Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Jose Canseco. Like you had all these guys who suddenly jumped in notoriety just because they were hitting home runs and they were getting a like unbelievable amount of endorsement money outside of baseball. So Barry, being the man he is, he's like, well, if no one's getting tested, no one's getting in trouble, I'll show you how good I am with it. So then he became literally the most untouchable person in baseball. And then they decided you're too good. We're going to take away steroids. And then they took it away from everyone. But personally, I think steroids saved baseball. If it wasn't for Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire's home run race back after the baseball strike, the game isn't what it is today. You don't have people focusing on launch angles. You don't have as much fans like out there as we do now. Like it helped the game become what it is. Like, yeah, we can recognize it's bad now. Like, we don't want to do it. But even like, if you were to look at the UFC, like the UFC didn't have USADA when it first came up, which is like their drug regulation or drug affiliation. And when it first started out, no one cared if they were on roids or not. Everyone was just juiced to the gills, massive, duking it out. But now that the sport has grown to what it's become, you need to have that like respect and notoriety to kind of like make sure everyone stays clean, make sure everyone's doing the right things. But I feel like they're too afraid to put him in because they're scared of like promoting steroid use. But I think it's also a failure to not recognize what he did for the game.
A-Rod's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was just on steroids.
Steroids.
David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, like there are literally legends that guaranteed did steroids. Dude, even beyond steroids, there's probably guys back in like the early they literally have documentaries of like players doing like hard drugs back then. Like I wouldn't imagine what like Adderall would do for these guys now. Like I feel like kind of need it. Like back then they're throwing what 85, not like barely touching 90s. Like come on, dude. Like you gotta face. Imagine literally now if you make it to the pros, if you were to face the Mets, you literally got to go from Jacob deGrom, the best player in baseball, and they'll bring in some guy out of the bullpen that's literally, if you're a left-handed hitter, lefty specialist. Oh, you're a right-handed hitter, righty specialist. Even if you somehow get a hit off them two, then their closing pitcher comes in. Oh, what does this guy got? Oh, guaranteed throwing triple digits for one inning. Yeah. Like I don't know, man. Like there needs to be something but then again, like the hitting numbers are still there. Like we still see teams hitting exceptionally well. Like it's not like the gap's that much bigger between like where the pitchers are and the hitters are. Like they seem to gradually keep pace with one another.
I saw a TikTok yesterday that said, I should have saved it. It was a guy talking about baseball, and he says in the next 5 to 10 years, 105 will be average in the MLB. What do you guys think about that? He said based on mechanics and structural support, or like some fancy words, he said that the gaps and jumps that we're seeing now, you're going to start seeing pitchers throw 105 pretty regularly.
I don't really know if somebody's arm could take that, I'll be honest with you.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Like, can a human throw an object that fast? Like, consistently?
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't know. But, like, you never know with all this, like, tech and this knowledge that we have now. Like, you just never know. But I don't know. I think that's a stretch.
And then to continue the stretch, he says they're going to have machines where they're going to take your saliva and put it in and do your DNA, and it's going to be like your maximum muscle potential to ever throw is going to be like 98. So we're going to teach you how to throw like 96, 95 so you don't extenuate your muscle.
If we ever get that developed.
I feel like that's a far reach.
Yeah. That's a reach and foul if I've ever seen it. But on the topic of 5 to 10 years down the road, Christian, what are some like 5 to 10 year goals you have in mind for yourself? Like, do you have any long-term goals that you hope to reach, or what are even some goals you have set for yourself right now that you're hoping to accomplish?
As far as long-term goals, I mean, I definitely want to go to college, definitely graduate and stuff like that. Like, I mean, yeah, I would love to get drafted and stuff like that, but you always gotta kind of have like a plan B, you know what I mean, just in case. Not saying prepare for the worst or anything, or hope the worst happens, you know what I mean, but just kind of always making sure that you're setting yourself up regardless, like, for goodness and like for greatness and stuff like that. So I want to get, go to college, graduate, hopefully, definitely get drafted. I mean, that's pretty much my long-term goals and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know, maybe become like an entrepreneur of some kind, just different ways. Like, I think there's just different ways to be great. And I just want to find like my way, you know what I mean? Like, just find my purpose and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Speaking of that, do you have any like outside of baseball goals right now?
Not necessarily, because like CDS is very time consuming. So, just maintaining good grades and stuff like that. I think that's just pretty much like that's it outside of baseball.
Are you doing the IB program at CDS?
Yeah.
You are? Oh, see, I didn't.
You going into your junior year or your sophomore year?
A sophomore.
All right, so you're not like fully in it yet, right?
Yeah, it starts next year, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah, aren't so coaches are allowed to reach out to you, like actually establish player to coach conversations after your junior year, right?
Yeah, that's when they can start initiating the conversations, texting you and stuff like that. Like that's when they can do that. So
okay, yeah, because I remember we were talking to JT about it, and he was telling us about his like commitment process, what it was like, and kind of that like vagueness of like having to talk to like a third party, or like having, it was like really difficult not just talking face to face with someone. It seems kind of silly, like talking about it, but obviously these rules are in place for a reason. But I mean, fortunately for you, you're going to be coming through college baseball when like NIL is like starting to blow up. Obviously this is a very new market for everyone. I don't know if you personally know anything about it yet. I don't know if you've like looked into it or seen anything, but yeah, once you get to college, it'll probably, the rules they have now will probably be changed by the time you get there, I'm sure. Have you looked at it at all?
A little bit. Like I kind of get like the NIL stuff. So like right now I'm kind of just like focusing on like kind of building a brand, like, you know, behind my name and stuff like that. And make sure, you know, it's all about like representation and stuff like that. So just making sure that you look, you know, presentable on social media and stuff like that. So like I'm working on branding myself and like looking to like get like an official NIL deal and stuff like that. So yeah, just I guess time will tell and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You said you went on a visit to Florida State already. When was this, before or after you were like offered your like your verbal scholarship?
Well, I've been to like when my parents, so like, you know, we would always drive to Tallahassee sometimes. Like we would go see like Florida State. Like it wasn't like an official visit or like an unofficial visit or anything like that. It'd be like that. And then actually when you go to the camp, like when you participate in the camp, like they give you a visit, like, or they like not a visit, but they like give you a tour of like the locker room. Like that's part of like the camp experience. So I got to experience that when I went to the camp and stuff like that. So like it was pretty much like me seeing the campus with my parents, and then at the camp, like seeing the locker room and stuff like that. And like
how your relationship got started with Florida State was going to their baseball camp?
No, not necessarily. Like I had some conversations with Florida State before. And then, you know, I went to a camp and stuff like that, like third party conversations. Hey, went to, or not a camp, sorry, I went to a tournament. He was at like, they were at the tournament, and there's third party conversation, stuff like that. Like went to a camp, then went to the camp, third party conversation, like, hey, like I want to talk to you and your parents. And that was that. And then they extend like an offer and stuff like that.
Now, are any other schools looking at you now, or we're looking at you as well?
Oh, yeah, a couple. Like I had some high interest and stuff like that. But I mean, overall, I kind of knew like what I wanted, like where I wanted to go, or what I wanted to be a part of. So it wasn't really like a hard decision.
Now, the topic of college baseball, what would you say in order the top 3 baseball conferences in college baseball?
I'm gonna have to go with the ACC first, of course. But the ACC,
of course,
SEC, the Big Ten. I mean, no, not really. The Big 12, not really. Probably, yeah. But I would.
Pac-12. Pac-12 is like it. Pac-12 is like eh. I mean, they did have Stanford.
I'm going SEC, Big 12, ACC.
Ooh.
ACC baseball is definitely second, without a doubt.
Right now, dude.
What do you mean not right now?
I mean, actually, I would Big 12 would be probably like second, because they have some good teams. What don't they have, like what? Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Texas.
Oklahoma, Tech, TCU. Yeah, that's a good second. Yeah, I would actually, no, that would be my third. It would be ACC, SEC, then Big 12.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to conference.
I may have to put SEC up there first, just because like,
yeah,
they like Tennessee, insane. Ole Miss, insane.
Oklahoma's in there. Texas is in there. Actually, Oklahoma State.
That is true. SEC does have like Alabama, like they're pretty good. The SEC, yeah, they have some.
I feel like the depth of the SEC is what it is. Is like your 500 team in the SEC is gonna be better than the 500 team in any other conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean,
baseball has always been a sport though, where it's kind of like anything can happen.
Yeah,
like,
obviously, Zach.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's why it's the best sport in the world, in my opinion, is just because like I've literally gone to games where like the University of Tampa beat the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, I mean, they've beaten the Yankees. Now, given these guys weren't playing like their MLB roster, like their opening day roster, but still, like these guys were drafted to be pros. They're obviously a little bit better than normal college competition. Yeah, I mean, even seeing stuff like that, it instills like this idea that like any given day, like anyone has a chance. Like that's what I love. Because I mean, we've seen it with Cinderella teams in Omaha. Like when Coastal Carolina won, I was fortunate enough. I actually went to Omaha to play in a tournament there, and then got to watch the College World Series. And so I watched them win it all. But that was, if you ever get a chance to go to Omaha, whether as a fan or a player, Christian, I would definitely recommend taking it. It is one of the most unforgettable baseball experiences I've ever been to. I'll definitely never forget that.
It's crazy how it's in Omaha, Nebraska. It's so rare. And it's popping every year. Every year.
Dude, it's like the city was made for Omaha. Like it's literally like the center of the city is just centered around the stadium. Like everything else is like built around it, like perfect dimensions around it. It wasn't like they just like stuck a baseball stadium in the middle of the city. It was like, let's build a baseball season to play the College World Series, and then we'll figure out like agriculture next. Like let's build a Logan's Roadhouse like 20 miles down the road.
When you were there, Zach, and it was like game time, was like the whole city like locked into the baseball?
Dude, it is so packed. Like I've never seen so many people moving around. Like you literally could just get a ticket to go in, and you weren't guaranteed a seat. It was just like, if there's a seat open, get it. Like there's some reserved seating spots, but like mostly it's just going to the stadium. If you can find a place to sit. If not, here's literally a bunch of walkways where you can just stand and watch the game. And that's what it pretty much was. I like, it's insane. Like they have a couple like diners and restaurants that are right outside the stadium that are literally just high enough to where you can see over the field and see the entire game be played out. Obviously, it's super expensive to eat.
Sick.
Yeah, obviously it's super expensive to eat there. Because I mean, everyone wants that experience. But for me personally, I sat right up first baseline, little up behind the dugout, and then I'm pretty sure we watched Miami, Arizona. I was able to catch a Chanticleer game. Because for some reason I thought they were gonna win. I was like, Cinderella story. It would be too obvious if they won. But yeah, that if you ever get a chance, I would check that out. That is unforgettable.
But that's to piggyback off that. There's just something about college sports that you just don't get the same in professional. Now, granted, the Super Bowl, the World Series, the biggest events in pro sports are bigger than the biggest events in college sports. But the consistency of like big games and legacy and tradition, you don't get that. You know, like like in regular MLB baseball, like the Yankees Red Sox played the other day, no one really cared. But Florida State's playing baseball, it's sold out, everyone's tuning in. You know, like it's stuff like that, and like the rivalries and the tradition and College World Series and March Madness and NCAA wrestling and all, like there's just no atmosphere the same, I feel like, with the tradition and love with college sports. And I'm kind of scared that we're going to lose that in the next 5 years. But I saw a tweet one time that was like a 6 out of 10 NFL game is always better than a 6 out of 10 college football game, but a 10 out of 10 college football game is always better than a 10 out of 10 NFL game. And that's how I would like to describe that.
Yeah. I also feel like college sports still have that, like, I don't know, in the pros, it's a lot more perfected. You still have so much like randomness and at the college level that like no one really prepares for. And whether it be like mental lapses of judgment or just like pure debauchery going on and like on the field of play, like you just never know. Like, and see, I don't know if the fans are more into it at the college level or just because it's at college. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just because it's the element of college.
Is more in college. I do.
Yeah.
They're more zoned. They're more locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like with football, because like especially even at FAU now, like our buildups to like football games. Like it was more so for like the tailgate side of things, but like we still like were around the football environment just because of other interests we had. Like our school was kind of like set up around like athletics. But personally, I think schools are better that way. If athletics are doing good, usually the school is doing really well.
Mhm.
Christian, at CDS, have you had any of the other sports win states or like go deep into any of the playoffs?
Since I've been there,
Yeah.
track. I know there's a couple track athletes that went to states and placed in states. I mean, I would say that's really it. I mean, our football team, like everybody was expecting them to like go to states. We didn't go to states.
That's CDS football in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the swim team, they went to states. A couple of them went to states. We had a couple wrestling guys. They won.
Johnny Conrad, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the Conrads is still there.
He just graduated. Yeah. So old.
I know. I was like, what?
Yeah,
That is
he's going
crazy.
Brown, I think.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, that's just about it. Like our teams aren't like, I mean, we're getting, of course, we're like gradually getting better and stuff like that, but we haven't, none of us have really like gone in like deep in the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah. I'm expecting some 2018 things out of CDS, especially if you're on the baseball team. I need to see 25-4 again, given the number one team in the country, run for their money type stuff. Because I mean, I know those are big expectations, but I believe in you. You gotta pull through.
We'll get it.
Yeah. But Christian, I think you answered everything for us. I hope you had a good time. We had a great time getting to know you.
It was really exciting to bring you on as Florida State fans and as Carrollwood Day alum.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me. It was a great opportunity, to talk to you guys about a lot of different things. But thank you guys.
Of course. Probably after the season, we'll catch up with you again. Maybe if you have time to sit down for another pod, if you're not too busy, we'll probably shoot for one of those again. It's always good to reconnect with past guests and stuff, but we'll be keeping in touch with you. We'll see how your season's going, but hopefully if you have any questions about anything, I've obviously been through the college baseball experience already, happily retired from that, but if you got any questions for us after, we'll make sure to get you our numbers, so we'll stay in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks,
Of course.